It is about time. We're getting close. Mrs. Mojo Shorts in the comments. Good evening. Garumvetch and Adventure Club member Dawn. 10 seconds. You ready to take it live? Let's see if I can nail it tonight. All right, let's go. Coming to you live over the warm desert airwaves. It's time for Midnight in the Mojave on Mojo Adventures. All right. Welcome back, everyone. I bid you a good evening, a good afternoon, or a good morning, whatever time it is you're listening to this, and wherever you're listening to this message. We're just glad to have you this evening. We have Mrs. Mojo back in the hot seat, and Miss Bella's down there somewhere. She's kind of wandering around this evening. How y'all doing? Kind of an odd night tonight. I didn't really plan on having anything in the Midnight in the Mojave tonight, but you know, getting kind of burnt out on the main channel, and this is just so much easier and more entertaining to do this podcast style. And it seems like people are having a lot of success with the podcasts here on YouTube, right? So everything we do here, just a little bit of practice. This is all going to tie into the future because I like to get a little bit better at this. And I know you can't see, but from that thumbnail here on Midnight in the Mojave, I do have this rig set up in the back of our trailer here. You can see the edge of our teardrop camper here. So exciting stuff there. And the reason I do that is because we hope eventually that we can take this podcast set up on the road. And if you were on the main channel just a little while ago, just this evening, I put up a poll. Or actually, it wasn't a poll. It was just a post. I'm sorry. Hold on. I got you muted, Mrs. Mojo.
Oh, do you?
There we go. Give us a microphone
Howdy,
check.
howdy. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
1, 2, 3 to outer space. I'm just kidding.
There you go. She's going up to outer space and coming back down
Straight
to you
back.
all this evening. Yes, how are you all doing? Let me put up the chat view as we get started here. All right, there we go. Now, if everything works okay, let's see, we're backwards, so it's kind of hard to get this right. Over on this side, you should see your chats pop up eventually. So we'll see if the chat box wants to work with us tonight. But anyways, like I was saying, I just put up a post on our main page, not this page. The main page is at mojo.adventures, and our secondary page is at mojo-adventures. That's Mojo Adventures, more page that you're watching us on here. That was just a little project we started because the main page kind of gets dragged down by the algorithm. If we don't just hammer, you know, like the same thing over and over and over, it gets confused, and then it doesn't recommend our videos, and we're kind of getting into a little bit of a doldrums with that. So we like to come over here and just have some fun and chat and cover some stuff. So like I said, I put up on that post, I asked if anyone was local or wanted to talk about their experiences around Lake Mead back when it was full. You know, people who were in high school in the 80s said they were having a good old time in the heyday of Lake Mead. And the reason for that is, I don't know if any of you out there watch the channel Peter Santinello. All right, we like this channel a lot, right?
Yes, we love him. He's fun.
Yeah, if you've heard of Peter Santinello, let us know in the chat. But he kind of just goes around everywhere, not just America here, but he goes around the world and kind of finds interesting people, and he goes with them along, you know, does like a ride along with their lives and sees how they live and, you know, how all the customs and everything are. And I just find that very interesting. And I know the places we go, especially around Nevada, Arizona, and the Southwest, we meet some very interesting characters, all right? I'd say probably the closest thing he's done is he's gone to, like, the Salton Sea.
Yeah, that's close enough
And
to kind of our area.
What's that Painted Rock area? Where they
Oh, Alabama Hills? Or are you talking about
where
that?
they paint all the rocks in the Salvation Mountain.
Oh, Salvation Mountain. Yeah, that's in California.
Down in California. So he goes to places like that, and I'd say that's kind of like probably the closest people we run into is people that are just living off in the desert and places that are kind of just stuck in time. And it's really interesting to see, especially coming from the middle of the crazy city here in Las Vegas, where it's just all the time stuff going on, you know, noise, everything at your fingertips, whatever you want to eat, any entertainment you want, like everything is like instant gratification here. And then you go off grid there and you see people that are like, when you make a grocery run, you better get everything you need for the month, you know?
Like a month trip.
So it's like, you know, we want ice cream. We walk up to the store, ride the bike, and we're like having ice cream in 5 minutes. So it's really interesting to see how these other people live. Yeah, I'd call it privilege, yeah. And I think it would be good maybe, you know, not for everyone. I understand not everyone can live like that, but I think if some people got back to that kind of lifestyle, maybe humans would stop being such a drain sometimes on all our resources, including the water situation like you see on our main channel. So that's where I was going with that post. Now, before I get too long-winded in the intro here, like always, what do we have tonight? I didn't really have anything planned, but Dawn said, Adventure Club member Dawn said, she's kicking it late tonight, you know, going to stay up hooting with the owls. So, hey, here we are too. So tonight I put together 3 things. The first is going to be, as you saw in the title, the Mojave Desert Yucca Man. This is an interesting one. And I'm going to show you, I actually made a t-shirt design for our merch that has it on there. So you're going to learn where that little design came from tonight. And then I'm already getting off track because I can't remember. The other one was alien hybrids. All right, I don't know if you all have seen any of these stories going around in the news, but all of a sudden there's these talk that people are our political leaders and figures are talking about. They know that there's been hybrid testing or like human alien hybrid medical experiments going on. And then also they decided to mention, hey, if you all knew about this stuff, like the country would be going haywire right now. So not exactly something you want to tell the general public, right? I mean, if you're going to say that, you might as well just tell everyone what's going on. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then the last topic was YouTube self-destruction, because we're kind of experiencing some of that on our main channel here. And today I was watching, I don't know if any of you create on YouTube or any social media. I know it's kind of like a niche thing, like we're on here trying to make videos, but there's a whole genre of people that just make help channels for creators. All right, one of them is called vidIQ, another one's called Think Media, and then you have the official ones from YouTube called like Creator Insider. Well, nevertheless, the point of these channels are so when people like me, when I put all this work into a video and then it bombs, and then, you know, I go around and blame the algorithm and say, oh, no one likes watching my stuff and it's terrible. Well, then they come in and they say, well, here's what you're doing wrong. The algorithm wants this. You need to change your title. You need to make a better thumbnail and do it. So I went down that rabbit hole. And the funny thing I found is all these people that are providing motivation, now they're all kind of agreeing. They're like, yeah, YouTube's screwing up big time. They're kind of self-destructing themselves, trying to compete with TikTok. And, that actually gave me more relief than any of the videos I've watched before, because I've been trying to grind away and get that channel back into gear, and it just doesn't seem to be happening. And I can't figure out what's going on with it. It seems like no matter what we do, it keeps getting worse and worse. And I found out that I'm not the only one. Even big people, for instance, the Think Media guy was referencing Mr. Beast, how he's fallen off. And that could be for other reasons, but everyone's been experiencing that on YouTube. So we'll talk about a little bit of what's going on with the YouTube self-destruction. And I won't talk too much about it because I am planning on doing a live stream and making a members video explaining some of that. I know I mentioned to Dawn that if it weren't for our Adventure Club members, I probably would have taken this whole year off, because it's just like you get so burnt out on YouTube. It seems like every moment of the day is me sitting behind the computer. And before, it used to be we'd be going off on a ton of adventures. You know, we were never recording. It was just, we were in the moment, experiencing everything, you know, no matter where we went. If it was Goldfield, we'd be in the moment doing this or that. But now it seems like after doing that main channel for years and years, I think how many years has it been?
Since 2022. Yeah, so what is that?
4 or 5 years now?
Almost 4. Yeah, coming up on 5.
Yeah, so after you start doing it for so long, the problem is you kind of get out of the moment. You know what I mean?
He's got the burps.
Yeah,
sorry, guys.
I had my late coffee. So the problem is you kind of get out of the moment, and then when we go on trips now, it's like me planning like, oh, I need this many SD cards, and I need this camera, and I need the drone, and I've got to have a spare battery, and well, we got to have the wind mics because if it's windy, I don't want to have bad sound. So it's really kind of taken us out of everything we've started, and it really burns you out. I know you might not see it from that side of the screen, but that combined with what YouTube is doing, it's really just turns into a drag, and eventually you kind of have to make a choice. So I'm going to tell you what's going on a little bit with the channel, but more so I'll save that like I said, for the main channel, when we do the live stream, I might go down to the lake tomorrow. Mrs. Mojo's kind of really busy, so I might be solo. I don't know, but
no, we're going down tomorrow. We don't have anything planned.
Yeah,
We've got everything.
I might do
today.
a live stream down at the lake, yeah, and explain this a little bit better. But that is more for the main channel. So tonight, you know, Midnight on the Mojave, it's kind of free form. We talk about everything and anything that we can't discuss on the main channel, and that's why we're going to start with that Yucca Man story. All right, have you heard of the Mojave Desert Yucca Man?
Yes, we have.
Do you know the story behind it, though,
I
at
can't
all?
remember all the details because it's been a while since we've researched it, but clearly you're up to date on it.
Okay. All right, that was kind of a lengthy intro, but you know how I roll, so that's just kind of how things happen. Good evening, everyone. Dawn, it's great to see you. It's not your fault at all, Dawn. It's actually, you have been the motivator, because even Mrs. Mojo sitting here, she'll even tell you that between her and the Adventure Club members, they're the ones pushing me to do this stuff, because I'm kind of like the person that I flip a switch on an instant. Like, I go where the wind blows, Dawn, all right? Like, I know you've seen us doing the YouTube, and since 2022 when that drought situation was going on and we were hot, like I hit the ground running, you know, we were getting 200, 300, 400, 500,000 views per video, just like that. It was a hot topic. But now it seems like I put more time into the videos and I only get a fraction of the return. And I would always kick myself and say, well, maybe, you know, maybe I'm just not likable. Maybe the information is not good anymore. Maybe it's something about how I'm recording. Maybe they don't like seeing, you know, this or that. But Mrs. Mojo has been the one saying that's not what it is. It's probably something going on with YouTube. And so, Dawn, it's not your fault. It's actually, you've kept me going, and that's good, because as you can see, I've branched out a lot. Like, we've got this podcast going on now. As Dawn saw last time, I've been getting back into playing guitar. And you also know, Dawn, from the Petrified Wood, that we were big rock hounds. We weren't only doing that, but we were really into the turquoise, because we went up to Tonopah to the Royal Blue Mine. We dug that world-famous Royston turquoise. People come from all over the world, especially Asian buyers.
Yeah, the Asian
Chinese and Chinese and Japanese people come and dig that Royston turquoise because it's world renowned, and they'll take it back
gorgeous.
Home. Yeah.
So very sought after. It's one of our favorite minerals, clearly.
But not only the digging, as you saw, we were really into the silversmithing. So we would take it from literally from the ground to a finished piece that would sit on your finger, you know. And that is you think the editing videos is time consuming? Holy moly. Between driving up there out into the wilderness with your rock hammer, digging in the heat of the sun for hours and hours, bringing hundreds of pounds of raw stone back home, going through it one by one and cutting it through the saw, and then grinding it and polishing it. And then at that point, you only have the stone. Then I would pass it off to Mrs. Mojo, and she'd start the silversmithing. Yeah. And so
in my little she shed we built in the backyard.
Yeah, so she has a silversmith she shed. Say that 5 times fast. But so, Dawn, it's not you at all. I have all these hobbies that I've done, and when YouTube was kind of popping off, I got away from all that stuff, and I kind of fell off and lost my touch for all of it. So it's kind of like I'll go where the wind blows, and now it just, you know, it's not like a bad thing at all. It's not like I actually contemplated making one of those videos like, hey, I'm quitting YouTube, because it seems like all the creators make one of those, why I'm quitting YouTube, and then they get thousands and thousands of views. I contemplated doing that, but I don't think I'll ever really quit. I'll just shift for a bit. So maybe go back to making some jewelry, maybe some metal art. I'll have to pull some of that out too. I did for a while weld horseshoe art together, like cactuses. There's some over here, stuff like that. So I go where the wind blows, and
we're very creative creatures, so it's fun to have outlets, if you will, because, you know, you can't just be bah humbug. You got to stay positive.
And for a long time, the YouTube was that outlet, but like it seems right now, the seasons are coming to an end with the YouTube, and it's really unfortunate because, like we cover on the main channel, the lake is dropping and it's going to be really low the next 2 years. So I won't give up on that, but I'm just kind of tired of hammering the same thing over. And it's like beating the dead donkey. You know, I keep hammering it, and then YouTube says...
Don't say the donkey. We love the donkeys.
Yes, but YouTube says, well, just make another one. Well, just try shorts. Make 10 shorts. Well, try and make 3 more videos. Try and make a longer video. That they try and keep you on that hamster wheel. You know what I mean?
And it drives you mad.
Yeah, so eventually... I'm not the kind of person that's just going to keep doing that. I'm just going to drop out and I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to go somewhere where I'm a little more valued until YouTube gets their stuff together. And once again, has nothing to do with our viewers. Our viewers and our Adventure Club members have done absolutely everything possible. They always support us. So it's nothing like that. It's just YouTube can certainly pick winners and losers behind the scenes. I know these social media companies say they don't do that, and they say, we're going to treat everyone fair, and we care about your mental health and your well-being. They care about one thing, advertisers and the money they get from the advertisers. The thing I see happening with YouTube, I'm already getting into the last story, the YouTube destruction. I'll give you a little preview, but I see a big lawsuit coming up, not from creators like me who are frustrated and fed up with all this stuff, but from the advertisers. Because keep in mind, the advertisers are paying YouTube, and they're just trusting that YouTube is going to give good quality views to all that ad money that they paid. So now what happens when these advertisers find out that YouTube is actually pushing all the ads to this slot bait AI garbage with fake info in it and fake thumbnails and stuff like that? When the advertisers find out about that, they're kind of getting ripped off. So YouTube better watch what they're doing, because when people, when the real humans leave, YouTube's just going to be stuck with a bunch of repetitive looking thumbnails and AI crap. And then who's going to want to watch that? People are going to, like, right now, we're kind of in a transition, so people still click on it and watch it. But eventually, after you watch 10 of those videos, you're going to get sick of that robot voice and sick of the same old stock photos that they use and stuff like that. So
people are going to start craving realistic people like you and I. Honestly, I think already certain people are starting to understand the difference between AI and real people, and they're already getting sick and tired of it. But there's certain ones out there that look so real. It's wild. So it's getting a little confusing for certain people in certain age ranges.
Yeah, not only the voices, but they have the bots too that are looking realistic. And they'll be hi, buy this product. And well, I'll get into the product thing too. I don't want to get too off track right here in the beginning. Like, this is funny because I said I had nothing to talk about tonight, but here we are.
Yappers.
Probably like 20 minutes in, yeah. So
did you see what Dawn said right now?
Dawn said she hadn't heard of him, Peter Santinello. I'll just pull him up real quick before we go into the Yucca Man story, because you might like this channel too, Dawn, because he's
awesome. He
does a really good job, and he gets perspectives from everyone.
Yeah, and he doesn't care where you fall in line with anything. He just wants to hear your story and your truth.
So,
which is
like,
cool.
you can see this first one. It says Deep Appalachia. So he'll go into all over the country. Like, look at the U.S.-Mexico border with a sheriff, weekend with an Amish farmer, inside Chicano culture.
Like, he really goes into, like, rural, like, USA, if you will, places that most people would never venture into, and hear what the people want to hear, obviously from those people, their stories.
The good part, why I really like his channel and why I put up that post and why I think I'm going to kind of start shifting to this kind of content, is because we really need this kind of stuff in this day and age. Because when he goes to all these different places, like, I know just the state of our country and everything right now, you could look at some of these thumbnails and you could say, oh, like inside East LA, you could form an opinion like, oh, these are going to be, gangbangers or this and that. And then you can go, oh, look, deep in Appalachia, it's a bunch of rednecks and this and that. But the thing is, when he goes in these places, you find out all these people are almost the same as the people on the opposite side of the country. They're all kind of everyone just wants to be happy. They want their families to be safe and successful.
Yeah, all the same passions and life, honestly.
And it just shows how vibrant this country is and varied, and how actually closer we are to each other than we think. Yeah. And so I think Peter Santinello type channel, I think he is the antidote kind of to what's going on, especially with mainstream media and corporate media these days, where they want to nitpick and highlight the differences. They want to say, oh, look, we found this person is like this and you're not like that, so you shouldn't like.
They want to divide and conquer, and that's how they control our world.
And Peter is kind of the counterculture to all that. He's kind of going in these places and he's showing how everyone's the same. So this is a really good channel. Check it out if you haven't. Obviously, he has the subscribers to show how quality work he's doing. But before we get too far off topic, let's get into this first story. Okay, look at these photos. Isn't this crazy? So this one right here, I don't know if it'll let me open it. It'll probably try and make me log in. Yeah. Okay, so this photo right here is allegedly an actual photo of the Mojave Desert Yucca Man. Okay, so now you might be saying, what is that? Well, I'll read this passage to you. Among the jagged rocks and twisted Joshua trees, there's a local legend that's been passed around campfires for decades. They call him the Yucca Man. Not quite Bigfoot, not quite myth. Just a towering wild figure said to roam the edges of Joshua Tree National Park. And for those that don't know, that's kind of in Southern California in a void between the cities, and when you get out east here towards Las Vegas, it's a very barren area down there by Joshua Tree. So goes on to say, one of the earliest sightings came from a Marine stationed at the 29 Palms base in the 70s. He claimed a towering figure came out of the dark, knocked him flat, and bent the barrel of his rifle like it was made of tin. Another account from a couple near Desert Hot Springs describes something stepped out from behind a yucca bush, chest heaving, arms hanging almost to its knees before it vanished back in the shadows. Some say he moves between the creosote bushes at dusk. Others swear they've heard him rustling through the canyons when everything else is still. All right, so you have a little synopsis here of the Yucca Man. And so the Yucca Man is kind of like the Sasquatch of the desert. All right, so there's a lot of lore behind this. This isn't just something I made up on that t-shirt. I'm telling you, there's a lot of stories. And of course, just like Sasquatch and Bigfoot, it's kind of hard to separate the truth from the fiction here. But it's not only recent. This goes back to the indigenous folks and everything. So this is not just a new story here. All right. I find this very interesting, and that's why I made the t-shirt. And I know Mrs. Mojo, I keep saying we're going to cover the Sasquatch stuff because she's from the Pacific Northwest, so Bigfoot is obviously huge up there. But we have our own version down here in the desert.
I wouldn't put it past anything at this point with all the stuff coming out. We finally realize some of the stuff has been real this whole time.
Yeah, we're going to touch on that a little bit more, whether this might be a creature or would it be something else.
I don't know. He kind of looks cuddly, in my opinion. Hopefully he's nice.
Well, yeah, in that photo, he looks a little bit too hairy, in my opinion.
I know, he needs a haircut.
If you see, when I'm going to show you the logo I did for the t-shirt, but the Yucca Man that I did, you know, there's obviously different variations of him, just like Sasquatch. The one I did, he looks more like the Joshua Tree on the left-hand side here, where his body is kind of hairless and it looks like the trunk, and then his arms and his extremities have these spiky parts like this, just like a Joshua Tree. So
he blends in.
Yeah, see, now you're seeing it. Yeah, so he kind of looks spooky, like this Joshua Tree right here.
Yep. You could probably never know that he's out there, but honestly, I don't know. He kind of looks cute in a weird way.
Yeah.
I always find the cuteness in anything.
Yeah, so this is a little bit longer story, so I'm going to read this one also because this has a lot of interest. This has kind of a synopsis of all the accounts of people viewing him over the years in and around Joshua Tree. And after I read this little passage here, you'll definitely have a better understanding of where all these tall tales, or are they tall tales? Maybe they are real accounts. Who knows? The known unknown, tales of the Yucca Man. The desert has its own version of Sasquatch, and it's just as smelly and hairy. Great. So I think
deodorant.
Yeah, I think this is another one of those cases like where you would smell him before you see him. So
yeah.
You know, that maybe we shouldn't be talking about this before we go up to Goldfield, where it's the high desert where Joshua trees are everywhere. But I've never heard of stories of the Yucca Man up there. Maybe I think it's too high north there because they get a really cold winter, so he stays down.
Like 6,000 feet.
Yeah,
so
he stays down by Joshua Tree National Park, like the caption said. So,
just like Dawn said, she said Skinwalker Ranch. We should talk about that one time too.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah,
wild story.
So I'm going to get off track again here, but in case you don't know, there at home. Right here, local Las Vegas, we have on the local news, like you there at home, wherever you're at, you turn on the local news and you have your group of newscasters. We still have George Knapp, which is the gentleman who did all those stories back then, and he covered the Area 51 stuff, yeah, and he's covered Skinwalker Ranch. So we still have George Knapp on local news here. I think it's 8 News Now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's still on. In fact, if you go on YouTube and search George Knapp, 8 News Now just put out a compilation of all his stuff over the years. So
Especially when he was young, right out of like school, I tell you. It's been pretty wild.
It's really interesting to see because there's him doing news stories and he looks like a really young man, you know, like no beard or anything. But then they'll pan back to him in the newsroom like this evening, and he's, you know, you can tell he's old and
his little grays.
yeah. So he's been going at it for decades, and he's still on the local news. So we are glad to have George Knapp here. Covering all that stuff too, but he hit the Skinwalker Ranch stuff hard, and that's a really interesting piece of land out there. Who knows what's going on out there? But before I get too far off topic, let's go back to the Yucca Man here. The story you'll hear most often goes like this. There's a young Marine on guard duty in some far-off corner of the massive 29 Palms Desert Training Base. He hears an awful sound in the dark, something like a growl, then the breathing, coming from one side of his lonesome little guard booth and now from the other. It's circling him. He steps out into the dark, his sidearm drawn. There it stands, 8 feet tall, an unbearable stench from its hairy body, the eyes glowing like red coals. Sometimes the Marine is knocked unconscious by the beast and found hours later by the next shift. One version occurs at the old rifle range, where the watchman, also armed with a rifle, wakes from the assault to find his weapon bent in half. And that's kind of what the first story said right there. So you can tell this is one of the original tales passed down. Since the 1970s, when the Mojave Desert Base expanded from its World War II encampment, there have been regular reports of new recruits terrorized by both the Yucca Man and pranks inspired by the tales. And for any of you that have served or know service members, you know that when you're out there in the field, it gets bored and you're just smoking and joking all day long until it's time for action. So I could really see some of these tales and pranks coming from just the lore of the Yucca Man and people messing with each other. But most sightings of the spectral creature, now at least, come from campers and hikers at Joshua Tree National Park. Tents have been opened in the night by stinking monstrosities, and there is an occasional large footprint or blurry photograph submitted as evidence. And like I said, this on screen here, this is an actual photograph that someone said is the alleged Yucca Man. So who knows if this is one of those infamous Sasquatch photos that they composed, or did they really catch something here? That would be pretty terrifying, though. In this one, he kind of looks like he's made of hay or the brush here, you know, just coming up out of the brush.
Tumbleweed.
Yeah. And yeah, it even says the figure bounding over the boulders looks much like the iconic Bigfoot from the Patterson-Gimlin film of 1967.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
This photo is from the 1990s, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so since the 1960s, when tales of the Yucca Man and his desert cohorts were commonly reported by Southern California newspapers and telephone stations, amateur cryptozoologists and Bigfoot researchers have analyzed the blurry pictures and measured the prints in the sand, all in an effort to document a flesh-and-blood creature they believe exists alongside everyday mammals such as bears, coyotes, and humans. And what's interesting is, just like Skinwalker Ranch that Dawn mentioned, the CIA and FBI did actually become involved in some of these reports. So they obviously were interested enough to come and do some investigating. Who knows whatever came of those investigations, because just like the Skinwalker Ranch stuff, we're never going to find out unless a private company like the, I think it was Bigelow, the gentleman's name, who bought the ranch.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Something like Robert Bigelow, a private gentleman, bought Skinwalker Ranch, and he commissioned all the experts to come in. Because you know the government and the alphabet agencies, if they find something, they're not going to tell you, just like the human hybrid stuff. Yeah, just like the human hybrid stuff that we're going to cover in a minute. Yeah. But like I said, this isn't just something new because Joshua Tree National Monument came up. The natives who lived in California long before European colonization considered these creatures to be supernatural entities. All right, so that's going to tie in to our alien story here in a second too, with names that often translated to hairy devils.
I'm just telling you, the Bible is real, people.
Mrs. Mojo has a theory about this that like we're going to get into. I don't want to give it away, but
yeah, I'll have my theory
everyone
in a
has
minute.
a theory. Some people like me, they might think they come from outer space. Some people like Mrs. Mojo might think it's something more like a spiritual battle going on.
Oh, it's definitely
so.
Is.
Well, could you have proof of that? You say definitely, but
I feel like it is. I mean, the Bible's got some fun scripture, but we'll see. We'll see what comes out of it.
I lost my spot.
You gotta find it.
Here we go. Yeah, so they translated to hairy devils. They took care to avoid the gloomy spots where the devils were often seen. The Tongva people living around the Santa Ana River called the Devil's Hideout east of the river's source in the San Bernardino Mountains, the camp of the Taquis. Interesting. And then, before I drag on too long, the coastal and desert Indians should know the same creature is not in itself cause for skepticism. Under various names and dressed in a myriad of traditions, the Yucca Man has been reported in the wilder parts of Southern California as long as people have lived here. And then it goes on to say that there was actually a raceway track, too, later on, Mickey Thompson's Fontana Dragway from 1955 until the closure of the Dragway in 1972. There was a series of they closed it because there was a series of gruesome fatal crashes right near the end in 1972. And spectators would repeatedly say they saw something they called the Speedway Monster, assumed to be a wild man or a resident of the foothills of the nearby San Bernardino Mountains. It had the habit of crossing the rural land at the dragway's edge during car races that produced horrific noise. So that's interesting. This seems to me like it might be something like one of the Mothman things.
Yep, that's one of them too.
Do you remember the story of the Mothman?
Yeah, isn't that out east?
Yes, that was in West Virginia.
Oh, West Virginia. Yeah. I don't know exactly about it, but yeah, you've talked about it before.
Are you nervous over there picking your nails away? You're going to pick them down to the bone over there. It's don't get nervous. It's okay. All right. The Mothman is a story back east from West Virginia, but not to go into that too far, but the belief was when the Mothman had appeared that it was kind of like an omen. And indeed, there was a lot of spottings of the Mothman before a bridge collapsed. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think I remember that. We haven't watched that in a while, though. There's a couple documentaries we've watched.
Yeah, so, well, with the Mothman, he appeared, and then there was a horrific bridge crash in the middle of winter where there was a bunch of people parked on the bridge coming home with their Christmas presents. And before this event happened, people were having constant sightings of the Mothman, and the bridge collapsed, and a bunch of people passed away. And after that event, they stopped seeing the Mothman. So this may be kind of like a similar situation with the Dragway. It seemed like there was a bunch of gruesome deaths there at the Dragway when these sightings were going on, and then when they closed the Speedway and everything, it stopped happening. So who knows if it was actually related or just a coincidence. And then in the new suburbs of Antelope Valley, encounters with the Mojave Sasquatch reach epidemic levels from the late 1960s through the late 1970s as new housing developments in Lancaster and Palmdale pushed into the wild desert, and secret technology was tested at Edwards Air Force Base and Lockheed's notorious Skunk Works facility. And this right here, do you remember that? The Skunk Works facility?
No, I don't remember that one at all.
We might have to talk about that a little bit in a future episode. That's an interesting place, that Lockheed Martin Skunk Works facility. We could go down the rabbit hole with that one because I've read some interesting stuff about them there, and a gentleman named Aleister Crowley, I think that's his name. But apparently at some point this gentleman was into black magic and stuff like that, and he was working with astrophysicists and like NASA folks or people from Skunk Works. I'll have to look so I get these facts right, but apparently they were working together to do something weird, like open up a portal or something this. So
that was scary.
And that's in the same area. Yeah. So who knows what was going on there?
Said, but now they think Mothman was a harpy eagle, right? Is what she said.
Oh, I haven't heard about that. I'll have to look into that, Dawn.
Yeah.
Now, I was really, because as Dawn probably knows, I know some of the viewers don't, but I'm an Ohio boy, so I came from the Midwest. So when I was younger, I was really into the Mothman story. Like, I even drove down there to see the bridge and everything. And not only that, a lot of when I graduated high school, almost everyone, you either went to Ohio State, OH, or you went to Ohio University in Athens. All right. So Ohio State was kind of like that's where all the sports players, and I guess you'd call them jocks, that's where they all went, to get into the good sports programs. And then like all the alternative people who were, like the artsy people and the band people, like people like me who are jamming away. They went to, I didn't go to OU, but that's where all my friends went. And at Ohio University in Athens, if you look this stuff up, there was some really odd stuff going on in Athens. It was apparently in part of the Ohio Triangle, where it's kind of like a triangle of supernatural things going on. And there's a lot of weird stories that happened at Ohio University. I can't really say the words on here because YouTube will ban me, but like just people that were into the occult stuff and ended up going off the deep end and doing things, and you know, like seances and sacrifices and all kinds of weird stuff at Ohio University. Yeah, so now we're getting off topic, but there, I guess I'll have to add that to the list. I have to bring out my little list so I forget. So I have to put down the Lockheed Skunk Works and the Aleister Crowley stuff for another Midnight in the Mojave. If any of you've heard of that, let me know. That's a really big rabbit hole to go down with that. Yeah. And then the Ohio University in Athens, Ohio. Oh, I remember what it was. They had a mental facility, a psychiatric facility.
Oh, of course.
On the campus of OU, and the building was repurposed now. Yeah. But the problem is, whatever went on in there, people were saying there were portals in the basement and all this stuff. And of course, you know, when they closed the hospital down and then make it into a dormitory or classrooms, that doesn't mean all the energy just leaves. You know, the next week, oh, we're doing a refresh. Now it's a classroom. So they were having all
Stranger Things. If anybody watches that show,
I forgot it. That's old too. Yeah. So, all right, that's the Yucca Man though. And then I'm going to go back to the comments in 1 second. But before I do, this is where I wanted to tie it into. You know, we make merch as part of the channel, and that's going to also tie into the part how YouTube is destroying itself. Because now, if you want to survive on YouTube, you can't do it anymore. You can't just create and be a creative. They want you to endlessly shill stuff. You either got to do sponsorships. I know a lot of the people that we watch around Lake Mead, like Sin City Outdoors, they've started just out of nowhere to do sponsored videos, you know, like ads in their videos where they never were doing that before. And that's just kind of a state, that's just showing the state of YouTube now. You either have to shill endless stuff, or you have to do it for them in their little integrated shopping stuff, and that's just not what I want to do. So sometimes we'll do the bikes and stuff, or camping, or off-road gear if it's relevant to our stuff, but I'm not going to every video, I'm not going to put sponsored ads in there like they want me to. I'm just not going to do it. So instead, we'll make t-shirts and merch, and that's where this came from. See this? The Mojave
cute?
Desert. Yeah, so this one's a little cute. You don't have to get nervous over him.
I'm
She's
not
getting
nervous
over here again.
I'm not nervous.
Shit, maybe I shouldn't have told the story so late at night.
Cute.
It's okay. We're not by Joshua Tree. We're far enough away.
I'm not nervous at all.
So there's the Yucca Man shirt. That's where that came from, Mojave Desert Yucca Man. So there's that story. Pretty interesting stuff. Yep. Let me put it back up on our chat view. Let's see what's going on in the chat now. I appreciate y'all hanging out and listening to that long-winded story here. I can see your comments better up on the screen here. Dawn says it's funny because it was already admitted the Sasquatch was a hoax. I'm guessing you're referencing that old photo, the infamous photo from the 60s?
It might have been, yeah. They probably made it up or something.
Yeah, because I remember even back when I was watching documentaries on it, they were saying this was like someone who dressed up in a ghillie suit or whatever, you know, the like sniper suit. Yeah. And they said like they were trying to walk awkward, but it made it more noticeable that it was a human or something like that. So haven't heard from him. Oh, Dawn says she loves her rose. Dawn won one of our give back stashes. A while back we were making viewer give backs because we were moving so fast on YouTube. It was like 5,000 subscribers, 10,000, 15,000 subscribers. And then I was like, well, we're going to hit 20, no problem. Let's get a stash ready. Remember? Yep. And we got all the stuff ready. Don't ruin it though, because I'm going to save it for a little bit later. Yeah. But we got all this stuff ready. And then it's like the YouTube destruction started happening. And instead of gaining, we got to about 18,000 subscribers. And then every week it would start going down and down and down and down. And it was like, what is going on? So I totally forgot about that. And we have this whole box of stuff that we never did anything with. But Dawn got a rose. I'm going to pull out some of that other stuff and get it together. But yeah, that's another thing, like I was saying in the beginning with the silversmith stuff, Dawn. I really like making that copper. I like working with copper a lot. Number one, because if you've seen the prices of silver lately, holy moly. Yeah, it does. In that 1 week, silver doubled in price. We were buying silver for jewelry at like $35 an ounce, which wasn't too bad. And now it's like $70, $80 an ounce. And the problem is we can still make the jewelry, but now where you would be paying $80-90 for a nice turquoise piece of sterling silver, now just because the silver has increased in price, now it's $120, and people, it's just not that kind of economy, you know. Well, at least not for us. Maybe for you, if, you know, some people are living, they say we're in a K-shaped economy. So the people that are doing worse are just working harder and harder to survive, seems like where we're at. And the people that are in the lap of luxury are just having it easier and easier and collecting more money. So if you're in that top of the K-shaped economy, it might not be a big deal to pay twice as much for a silver piece. But for us, it's become unaffordable to work with silver now.
Well, it's
so
pretty wild, yeah, because we were so used to the pricing
Yeah.
before, but we still have a little silver just hanging around. So
But
when we
honestly,
get back on it,
I honestly I like the copper better, because
Yeah,
when
it's
you
beautiful.
work with the different metals, you see they all have their own kind of different personality and characteristics, and copper is very malleable. It's easy to work with, and it's cheaper. So if you want to practice or make mistakes, and oftentimes with jewelry, you know, because copper and silver solder very similarly. So if you're starting with jewelry, oftentimes they'll have you start on copper, so you're not making a bunch of scrap silver, obviously. And then some people even move up to gold. But honestly, I really like copper a lot. I think it's my favorite, probably copper. I just like how copper is malleable, and when you heat it too, you can make really cool flame colors, because
Yeah.
when you hit it with a flame, it goes for everything from greens to blues to reds and everything. You can make some really cool stuff. So Don, maybe I'll have to get back into some copper pieces too. Thanks for bringing that up.
you have a copper rose right here. See,
Oh yeah, there's one
there
right
you go.
here.
You can show them because I'm not close to the camera.
Yeah,
This one he made for me, but we put it in the garage.
here's one right here. Look,
There
at this
you
is a bigger
go.
one. Yeah,
Isn't it cute?
and I
That way
even
it
put
doesn't
the
die.
yeah, even put those whatever they call them, pistils down there. I got to go back to my plant terms, but yeah, there's a nice rose. Yep, forever rose, never
That's
dies. And
cute.
if you put them outside, they'll just start to corrode, and they sometimes get those nice green and different colors like a copper pipe, and it just looks even cooler, at least in my opinion. So
Yeah, it just gets weathered
yep,
and
very cool.
brings
So
out
you know,
prettiness.
when YouTube starts going downhill, then we start doing other stuff like this. Be careful with that hitting the mic.
Sorry.
There you go. All right. And she said, it is Mojo Adventures, so it's all adventure, right? Yeah, so the
Pretty
funny thing is,
much.
Dawn, when we started the channel, we wanted to do just the ghost towns and the stuff like that, the history. And then I hit that one Lake Mead update just randomly. I was like, I'll go down there and do a Lake Mead update because everyone's freaking out about Lake Mead. And it just took off. And I know Dawn will notice too, like we had other people come up, like Remote Trooper. Remember Remote Trooper? We had Vegas D-Tech. All these folks that were kind of in this same genre, like Remote Trooper just does adventure. Jesse's Drone Adventures, we like his channel too.
Yes.
Everyone broke off and started doing Lake Mead, and it was just kind of like, how long are we going to do it? It was funny because I remember like by Remote Trooper's second or third video, he was saying like, oh, I don't want to come down here and make another Lake Mead video, but here I am at Lake Mead. And then like I was joking when, you know, I was like laughing at him inside, and I'm like, that's me right now, but I'm going to be here for another 2 years.
This
And like,
summer's about to be wild. I think Dawn's correct. She said, what did she say? She said,
I discovered
sadly, when the lake starts receding again, the views will go crazy again. And that's what I keep telling
Yeah.
Mojo. I think it's going to be wild summer this year because it's already so bad. And we were just down there. We've been going almost every single weekend, and it's insane. The water falling down more and more and more. So we're going to find some really cool things. I think treasure hunting is going to be a good time. So it should be interesting.
Yep. And the other problem though is when it starts going crazy, all of the AI channels pop up and they flood the stream, and then
Yeah,
YouTube pushes
so
their
ignore
channels, so
those.
it pushes us down. So at a certain point, it's not that our viewers like Dawn and just incredible with the support, like
Yeah, we
absolutely
thank you.
incredible, more than I could
Been a
ever
good
ask for. But
friend.
at the certain point when YouTube won't push your stuff out, and then when I log in too, I see nothing but like I'll go and look for Joey from Vegas D-Tech, or I'll go and look for Sin City Outdoors or Remote Trooper, and it'll just be endless AI crap. And it's like, I don't want to see this. It just gets frustrating after a while.
And you lose track of all your friends.
Yeah. So, and I feel for those creators too, because I know they're probably getting worn down just like I am. And it's almost like that's why I'm glad for the member section, because I can just put stuff up there, and it's kind of, in a way, it's sticking it to YouTube. I'll tell you why, but I'm going to do that in the YouTube story because I don't want to get too far off base. And she says, maybe with pennies going away, there'll be more jewelry to be made with it. You have to find the old pennies, though, the actual copper ones, because you know I don't remember the year. I know for silver, the silver was like 64, I think, the Kennedy, the $50. But after like 64, the silver became an alloy, and same with pennies. The pennies went to alloy a lot sooner. So film your jewelry making. We thought about doing that. I actually have some of Mrs. Mojo doing the silversmithing too, but the thing, like I said before, Dawn, is once you start, like, I'm like you, like you're suggesting here. We do so much stuff. Like I will film, like behind me is the Jeep here. Like I do all our repairs. We haven't gone to a mechanic shop in ever. I think since I was in high school. Yeah. So that was another thing. I said I could film all these repairs, especially for popular vehicle models, you know, just simple stuff, brakes, oil changes, valve cover gaskets, compressors, whatever, thermostats, water pumps. The problem is, like I said, with the adventure stuff, you end up getting out of the moment. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, I feel like you just got to step back for a little bit and remember why you did it. And I know Mrs. Mojo is getting so sick of me complaining about, like, every time I've got to go to edit a video, it's like, I don't want to sit behind the computer for 12 hours today. And then when you upload it and it bombs, it's doubly bad. But I'm getting off topic again. No one wants to hear a sob story, right? Yeah. Texas Hockey Card says 1982. Is that for the penny?
Yeah, I'm looking it up too, and it says pennies were 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. They transitioned, the mint switched to 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. So fakey fake, essentially. But yeah, thank you, Texas.
Yeah, thank you, Texas. He nailed it there. So 1982 for pennies, and I think that's another thing I'll have to cover in another Midnight in Mojave. We're getting a lot of good topics here because I know the crypto thing. Some people are really into crypto. Some think it's just a scam and they think you're throwing money away to some magic numbers and stuff like that. But the reason that I like the crypto scene is for the reason that we just said right here, is because look at how the U.S. dollar has been devalued, and not only that, we don't really have hard currency. Like, have you seen the stories about Fort Knox where they wanted to go and audit Fort Knox and people are saying there's nothing in there?
Yeah.
Like, what is our dollar even backed by?
Did we ever find out? I mean,
no.
I don't even think they even announced what happened when they visited all that.
They made a big hubbub about it and then they never announced anything. So if our dollar is backed by nothing and our pennies are made out of useless alloy, and they're going to get rid of pennies too, right?
Yeah.
They're going to phase them out. And then like our quarters and everything and our half dollars aren't made of silver. What's the difference between crypto magic digital money or useless alloys that aren't worth anything anyways, you know, or a piece of paper dollar that's not worth anything? So that's interesting too, because I saw in relation to the Iran debacle that's going on, I saw that Iran said they're only going to accept payments for the oil, the charge to let the oil tankers go through in Bitcoin. So that could kind of create a monetary shift, and people don't really seem to be paying attention, because a lot of people, they haven't been going along with the crypto thing, or they just think it's a scam. But that's a very interesting story. I might have to cover that a little bit in a Midnight in the Mojave. Texas Hockey Card says the dollar's fiat currency. It is not backed. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think everybody realizes that nowadays.
It was supposed to be backed by the gold in Fort Knox.
Yep, and you were there. I mean,
they didn't we got to do a tour. I went to basic training at Fort Knox. That was quite an experience. I also, like an idiot, I went in the winter because they offered me an extra bonus. I got a sign-on bonus, and they said, we'll give you an extra bonus if you go in the winter, because that's our off season. And I said, oh, I'm from Ohio, no big deal. It'll be easier. We won't get as sweaty. Oh, that was a mistake.
Oh, cold.
Yes, many nights out in the field where you fall asleep, and we got nothing but our little tarps to pull over in a sleeping bag, no tents or nothing. You'd go in your sleeping bag and put a tarp over you, and when you'd wake up about 5 hours later, there'd be 2 foot of snow over you, and you'd take the thing off and just dig out of the snow. And then you'd have to really get your skivvies on really quick and put on all your clothes, and then you'd have to start
jumping around.
Yeah, and that was like, I'm like, now I see why they offered us a sign-on bonus. But,
yeah.
Yep. All right. Dawn says she needs a crypto for dummies class.
I tell you, Joe does that for me.
Yeah, we might have to get into that in a future Midnight in the Mojave. I was one because I was I came up in the internet bubble, or what do they call that? Is that the right word?
I would say.
What was that when everyone was rushing the online, the internet stocks and the tech bubble, like back in the day?
Tech bubble.
Yeah, with the Y2K stuff in it. I was all over. Like, I was showing my parents how to log on to AOL, like...
Dial up.
Welcome. You've got mail. Yeah, I like that. I was in that generation where we were learning that when we were young, and we had to teach it to all our parents and our grandparents because it was like forbidden hidden technology. They had no idea what was going on, like how you could plug it into the phone line and get data. So all that led me to finding out about cryptocurrency very early, and
college,
unfortunately, right? I didn't know the value of it back then. So I ended up throwing it a lot away. Not throwing it away, but you hear the stories about like the guy who bought a pizza with Bitcoin. I was doing that kind of stuff back in the day. I was like, wow, this is great. I can get this and that with 10 Bitcoin. And now I just think about it. I'm like, wow, that was stupid. But just like, just like a lot of people out there, we had no clue.
Live and you learn.
We just thought we were piloting something fun that we could get away from, paper money with. What?
Yeah.
Now I'm going down the rabbit hole. So before we get too long once again, let's get in to the second story here. I have some videos from this one. And this is in relation to the congressman saying that there is human alien hybrid testing going on, or that he's seen it or heard about it. So this stuff is very interesting.
Creepy.
I haven't been on Twitter in forever. We do have a Twitter page here, and I never post on it because kind of when Twitter changed over from, or I guess it's X now, yeah. So when it changed from Twitter to X, the algorithms changed just like YouTube. So we like we have 73 followers. So it like none of my posts really get any exposure really, here. Yeah. So, but we do have this page. I haven't been on here in a while, but I do use it sometimes because there's some interesting videos on here. And I don't know if I actually got the sound working right here.
We've been hearing about this.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I can hear it.
That we have it, we don't have it. That we've re-engineered it, no, we haven't. I know you can't talk about much because you're an active member.
Oh, we got music too. How about that?
Sorry, guys.
No, we're not. We're not.
Holy! Wait a minute. Did I just, guys? Did we just break that? Wait a minute. Is that April Fool's today, Tim?
No, it's second. No, we are not alone.
We don't make all them movies up just because somebody's creative in Hollywood and knows how to.
Oh, we're not on the web view. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got to put it up for them so they can see it, and then you got to restart it.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
We're learning.
We're still learning. See, this is why I'm doing this.
This is why you get to hang out with us.
Yep, so when we actually take it, if I end up taking it on the road or anything like that.
We'll know what we're doing, hopefully.
Yep, hopefully, yeah.
Thanks for the ride, guys.
Okay, so I've got that up. Yeah, let's try this now.
And then you can see.
Roswell, Area 51, Wright-Patterson, down in Dayton, my home state of Ohio. We've been hearing about this stuff now for 70 years, that we have it, we don't have it, that we've re-engineered it, no, we haven't. I know you can't talk about much because you're an active member, but just give me a wink. Are we alone?
No, we're not. We're not
Holy!
alone.
Wait a minute. Did I just, guys? Did we just break that? Wait a minute. Is that April Fool's today, Tim?
No, it's second. No, we are not alone.
We don't make all them movies up just because somebody's creative in Hollywood and knows how to write that.
No,
they're getting this from somewhere.
Let me leave you with this one, Dan.
Okay.
I was in a meeting, and I'll just leave it at that as a meeting because I have a lot of meetings. Yeah, and if that was allowed to be told in the public, the wheels would come off.
There you go. The wheels would come off.
Because every detractor was put in their place. I'll just leave it at that.
The things that I've seen would keep you up at night. You texted me right after the show that night, Dr. Greer.
Right.
Do you know what he's talking about, like, specifically?
Yeah, I do. So for a number of decades, we
Listen
have
to
used
this.
the retrieved non-human bodies, biologicals are called, and created creatures that are part human, part not human,
What?
and very advanced
Like a
biomedical
chimera.
research. And I've known about this since the 90s, and these have been used in covert operations, like the CIA document we have that admits they were using this sort of tech as well as the man-made UFOs to stage and hoax alien abductions and all manner of nonsense. The problem is it sounds like a science fiction movie, but it's been part of a larger multi-decade psychological warfare operation, partly run out of a division of the CIA and some out of other special operations and attached
Doesn't
to the
surprise
aerospace
me.
industry giants. But
Attached to the aerospace industry giants. Did you hear that little detail? So remember with the Yucca Man story, they brought up Lockheed Skunk Works. So were all these companies involved in all this stuff? And then that ties back into the Alias or Crowley stuff, opening portals and whatnot. So what is really going on here? And then you have the congressman saying if the public knew about this stuff, like things would melt down. Well, by him saying that, it's basically going to make people melt down now because it's even worse when you don't know, but someone says something bad is going on, you know?
Yeah.
It's like saying, look out, something bad is about to happen outside your house. And then you say, what is it? And they say, look out, something bad is happening outside your house.
It reminds me of that family here in Vegas. Remember when the family up north in Northtown where they had the random aliens that fell in their backyard?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
The Las
That
Vegas
was
backyard
wild.
aliens, yep. And those people actually ended up moving out, and they're gone now
Yeah,
because they got
'cause-
heckled so much.
Yep.
Yep, weird stuff.
It's
yes,
crazy.
we know details of that. We know where these weird experiments are going on, and I've handed that off to certain people in the national security structure and to certain members of Congress, as well as the names of whistleblowers who have been involved.
Okay, let me hold on. So there's a breeding program.
There's a
Matt
breeding
Gaetz said
program.
that. Tim Burchett didn't deny that. You're confirming that. Are there female volunteers that are taking part in this program? Like, how does that work?
No, there are no. The human subjects are ones who have been captured in distressed areas and used for human experimentation. It's
That's
similar
even
to what
worse.
one of our whistleblowers admitted to, last year
Okay.
when he said that
do you
there
know,
were.
Dr. Greer, why would we do this? Like, who would want to do that?
They would do it to try to create diversions and make people think that there's a threat from outer space when there isn't one.
That seems to be a reoccurring topic in these alien things. And then there's also the Project Bluebeam thing, where they
yeah.
said they're going to try and project what's allegedly aliens coming out of the sky, and everyone's going to freak out, and it's going to be like that Battle of LA movie or something. But then come to find out, it's just like a drone show with lights and stuff. So remember what you heard here. If something crazy happens, keep your cool. It might all just be a diversion. And then I have one more in this same thing. Let me know down in the comments if you can hear it sounds to us like the video on the screen from these videos are a little bit quiet, but if you can hear it, okay, that's fine. I'll have one more short one here in the same nature here. Alien disclosure just
Billy,
went mainstream. It says aliens, UFOs, and hybrid breeding have become part of the mainstream conversation.
Is wild. Let's get you up to date on the fact that aliens, UFOs, hybrid breeding suddenly has become mainstream. Here's a clip of former Congressman Matt Gaetz on the Benny Johnson show just a few days ago. Take a look.
I mean, I had someone come and brief me who was in a military uniform, worked for the United States Army, that was briefing me on the locations of hybrid breeding programs where captured aliens were breeding with humans to create some hybrid race that could engage in
So this guy
intergalactic
says he apparently knows
An
locations.
actual uniformed member of the United States Army briefed me on that.
Well, Billy, I want to get your response to that. But first, Tim Burchett, an active and current member of the United States Congress, just said this on Newsmax. Take a look.
I've been briefed by just about every alphabet agency there is. And I'll just tell you this, if they would release the things that I've seen, you would stay up. You'd be up at night worrying about or thinking about this stuff.
I mean, I'm
We just
already up
need
at
to
night thinking
disclose
about
it all. I'm sick of it.
Do not fear.
Well, I was brief. I'll just tell you this. I was brief last week on an issue, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago, and it would have set the earth on. This country would have come unglued. I think if they would have heard all that I heard, they would demand answers.
I mean, it's already kind of coming unglued as it is. So do we really need this on top of everything right now? Who knows? Maybe it's just time to get it all out. But
there's a lot coming out. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's like I said. It seems like everything in the last Midnight in the Mojave. It says it seems like everything's coming to like a peak, and we don't really know what it is. Like with the water situation, everything going on, it's like everything's falling apart, and the alien stuff, and the war in Iran, and it's just like we're living in this time where we're all accelerating to some kind of singularity, and no one really knows what it is. But hey, we're all here for it, right? And here you go. This gentleman, Tim Birch, I always say his name wrong, but this gentleman, Tim Burchett, he was the gentleman who was in the interview from the very first Midnight in the Mojave. So this is what kicked it all off, was actually this guy, because they caught him walking along the street and they were asking him about it, and he said, "Oh yeah, I've seen this stuff, I've seen the reports," and that's kind of what started all this. And now it seems like everyone's coming out of the woodwork. Whistleblowers, all these folks are just coming out of the woodwork like crazy, talking about this alien stuff. So to tie all of this in to what I was hinting at earlier, some people think, as you've heard from Mrs. Mojo, that these are not aliens. Some people think that this is actually some kind of spiritual battle going on. So in that case, the alien stuff, kind of like the last video was hinting at, some people think that the alien stuff is just a diversion to what's really going on. And then other people think that these aren't extraterrestrials at all. They actually think this might be something involving angels and demons, which is actually very interesting when you think about it, because if you look into that Aleister Crowley guy, that's exactly what he was into. He was into summoning the, I don't want to get nicked on YouTube here, but who cares? I think it was called the Whore of Babylon. This is actually a figure from some kind of ancient figure, a deity, kind of like what's the other one? Baal or something like one of the ancient deities. There's some story about the Whore of Babylon where when that figure reappears, it's like the end of this phase of existence. It's basically like the three horsemen. Yeah. So this is very interesting, because what you'll find is the people that maybe don't believe in the spiritual stuff, the people on the other side of that, in like the seance and the occult type stuff, they definitely believe in that stuff. They definitely believe in good versus evil. But the people like doing that Aleister Crowley stuff, their whole goal is to kind of convince you that that's not what it's about and it's not happening, because then they can go in the background with the little skunk works experiments and they can do it and no one will bother them. They'll just say, "Oh, that's just those crazy people that draw the circles and everything, and they're doing their candles." You a
conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. So Mrs. Mojo obviously has strong feelings about this. She definitely believes that this is not extraterrestrial stuff. She definitely thinks this is a good versus evil battle going on. And
I think it's good that it's being exposed, because it kind of gives us insight to our history. A lot of our history has been erased, as we've been seeing on the news. Clearly, if you've been watching other sources than mainstream media, a lot of people are starting to realize that a lot of our history that was taught in our schools was erased, and there's a lot of gaps and things that are not clicking, just like the giants that you were talking about up in like Ohio and the burial grounds and stuff like that. Like, there's parts of the Bible that talk about that. So it's pretty wild. It's
and
a
the
big
red
history
hair
book.
We've touched on the red hair giants from northern Nevada up in Lovelock Cave.
That's a cool story too.
Yeah, so that story was, there was apparently man-eating giants. They were red hair giants, and they were coming down out of the hills and they were grabbing up the Native Americans of the area. Was it the Paiutes? I'll have to look.
I believe it's the Paiutes.
No, that's too high. That's too high up for the Paiutes.
But
they were coming down out of the hills and grabbing the Native Americans, and they were cannibals, so they were taking them, carrying them back up and eating them, boiling them and eating them. And the lore went passed down from generations, the Native Americans chased them back up the hill into a cave, and then they set a fire at the entrance of the cave, and it smoked and burnt them all out, and that was the end of them. But the interesting thing is,
Paiutes.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So in that cave, there's actually a tie to that history because they found wooden decoy ducks. That was actually evidence that the Paiutes were up in that area. So it's very interesting because the Native Americans also didn't believe that these were extraterrestrial beings, just like the Yucca man. They called it, I forget the term, they called it the devil's something. But they knew something else was behind this. And it seems like they were very far ahead of us, even though in time they were before us. But somehow some of these civilizations seem to have knowledge. And another neat rabbit hole is the one with the pyramids and the Sphinx, where they say when they dug around the Sphinx, I don't know if any of you have looked into this, but they said after they excavated the Sphinx, they found some kind of erosion or watermarks that showed that the Sphinx was actually constructed long before it was supposedly created. So this is all kind of tying back to what she said, where we think we have a timeline of our history, but maybe we're not so accurate. Maybe we're just filling in gaps and kind of just winging it. So
Yep.
hard to tell here. And let me pull up your chats one more time. I'm glad we got all through that stuff. This has been a pretty full episode for an episode that I didn't have anything to talk about. But this is
We always do that.
yeah, this is how it always seems to work. Midnight in the Mojave. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Texas said audio works great, and thank you for that. And he said, all countries have disclosed this years ago, right? No, I did not know that, actually. I'd like to look into more stories about that, though. Dawn says end of days.
Yep.
Let's hope not. And she said Jesse did a video on that. Are you talking about the red-haired giants? I missed that
he
one.
did, yeah.
Ooh, I have to check that one out, too, because since we've started the channel, that is one story that has always been on the list. I really wanted to go up there, but Lovelock is kind of remote. We've been up to Reno and Virginia City, and that's taken us like a 2-week trip to get all the way up there and really explore. And we looked around the Comstock Lode and all that good stuff, and then we came back down the Eastern Sierras. And that was a really fun trip, but it's like Lovelock is even further
Higher up,
out. Yeah, but that is definitely on our list of stuff to cover. I really want to go there. That is a neat piece of history. And Dawn said, yes, he showed that cave. Very interesting. Okay, I'll have to look into what Jesse had put up there also.
Yeah, he must have.
Very cool. Yep. Okay, so 1 minute here. My mouth is getting kind of dry. So I think what I'm going to do, we are going to take a very short intermission. I'm going to get a drink, and we will be right back. Thank you for tuning in. Stick tight for just a minute here. We'll be right back here on Midnight in the Mojave, episode 7. See you in a minute. All right. About ready to get fired back up. Let me grab my water first. We're back. We got an extra tag along here. Miss Bella's having zoomy times in the house by herself. It's up past her bedtime. Sometimes she just puts herself to bed. We'll just find her in bed. She's like, I've had enough for today. Sorry, Bella, it's not Sunday. You have to work.
She's already yawning.
This is why we don't take Bella to the lake anymore, because we usually stream on Sundays and she doesn't work on Sundays, and she just be a ho-hum. She's like lazy and she'll drag around, especially when it gets hot. So she can join us for a little bit of the end of the Midnight in the Mojave back. And welcome back, everyone. Texas Hockey Cards. I like this. Thank you. Are you talking about the song here? That's all YouTube music, so we don't get a copyright strike. Yeah. All right. So the last story that I'm going to touch upon right here, let me pop it back up into the web view, is going to be what I was talking about in the beginning. And I know this might be a little off topic for all of you, because unless you're a YouTube creator or you make social media posts, but at the beginning of the episode, what I was describing is there's this whole genre of YouTube channels like this Think Media podcast. I actually think this gentleman was based in Las Vegas for a while. I think he's up in Utah now, but he was based in Las Vegas and doing events here. And his whole thing is helping creators you know, especially newer ones, helping them to try and crack the YouTube algorithm and how to get views and how to get subscribers and how to sustain yourself. So this was a very positive channel. This would be the kind of gentleman that Mrs. Mojo would say, you need to watch because you're getting discouraged and you don't need to do that. You need to stay positive and look how you can keep growing and all this stuff. So when this person starts making videos talking about how YouTube is dying, look at the title here. Mr. Beast's views are down 50%. Is YouTube dying? I'll just play just the intro of this because you don't need all this info.
A lot of people are going to quit or not start because of this information.
Mr. Beast's views are down.
119 million down to 78 million, 78 million down to 67 million, and all the way down to 56 million. When you've been getting 200 million views, that's over a 50% decline. YouTube is quietly killing long form discovery on the homepage. It's like they're pushing shorts so hard, but the problem is shorts is cannibalizing long form. Do you believe that to be true?
I go back and forth.
Very well said. Cannibalizing long view.
Today, we're going to be unpacking 5 big theories behind
So there you go.
this.
That's really all you need to know about this whole video for right now. And that was, is YouTube Shorts cannibalizing the long forms? And that's why the last topic I had was, is YouTube self-destructing itself? So the problem here in a nutshell, because like I said, I know a lot of people aren't creators and this will seem foreign to them, but this is just self-help for creators. And the problem is, when you're someone like us who does nothing but long form, okay, you all know we do the 4K videos, big, beautiful, full screen, you know, everything. So you can go home and watch it on the TV or watch it horizontal on your device and get all the details of the POV shots. Well, people like us who make the long form content, we've kind of got into a battle with YouTube, who wants to compete with TikTok now. And if you're on TikTok, you know, they do vertical. So they want everything vertical. They want short form. You know, what I would describe it is sometimes is brain rot. Okay, because what it's doing, well, what this gentleman says on Think Media, it's training people to kill their attention span. Because you know, shorts and the TikTok stuff, they might be 5-10 seconds long. And if you go on that short and in 3 seconds you're not interested, like here's something exciting, you just swipe. You just swipe. It's killing attention spans. So what happens is when we go out and make long form videos and put all this effort into it, the whole subculture who's used to doing this, they see 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. There's no way they're going to sit there and watch that after they've been trained to watch 3 to 5 second videos over and over. So you might have noticed from our channel, I've been scheduling shorts throughout the week, and those shorts lead back to our long form, because that's how our YouTube liaison told me, hey, this is what you need to do to get the channel back. We really want shorts right now. If you just upload shorts, it's going to be okay because you can point those shorts back to the video. And well, guess what? That didn't happen at all, because people, they don't watch the short and then go, oh, I'm going to click on the 30-minute video now. They watch the short and then they scroll to the next short and then they scroll to the next one. And then once my 10 shorts are done, they just scroll to the next creator's 10 shorts, and then they just scroll. So that's what this gentleman at Think Media is getting at. He's saying, is YouTube, because they're trying to compete so hard with TikTok, are they cannibalizing and basically killing off the long-form creators like us? And so for a long time, I thought this stuff was just making up. I was just making it up in my head. You know, I would tell Mrs. Mojo, the late content just isn't interesting anymore. You know, maybe I'm not likable. Maybe my editing style is not fast enough paced. And that's what YouTube will make you think too. They'll give you this list of reasons to why the algorithm, you're not tickling the algorithm right. And you just need to do this and that and this and that. It's always you. You just need to do this. You just need to do that. But they'll never accept blame for the little changes they've done, like how they've prioritized shorts. And maybe some of you at home, maybe you've noticed this. If you log into the YouTube now on your homepage, instead of where you traditionally see a bunch of horizontal long form videos, you know, lined up nicely throughout the whole page, and you scroll through them, you might start noticing that there's blocks and blocks of shorts where it used to be. And so they're really pushing those shorts. But the problem is, they're pushing folks like us away. And there's a reason that I never did TikTok, because we were never into the short content. I didn't like the short content. Number one, you can't get enough information across. And number two, you have to do the retention editing where everything is bam, look at this, look at that. Hi, I'm here. Click here. Look at this. You got to do that, and it's really distracting when you're trying to get a long message across with a lot of data and a lot of information. You really want people to take it in, and not only take it in, but I want them to know what's behind that. Like the water situation. I don't want to just go out there like the clickbait channels and go, Lake Mead's drying up. Look, Hoover Dam's going dry. And then use some clickbait thumbnail. I'm sure you've seen them where they show there's no water behind Hoover Dam. But that's what's getting the clicks now. Okay, so I've been in a real kind of crossroads with this, because I'm not going to mislead people. I'm not going to make a thumbnail where it's brain rot clickbait where I show a crack in Hoover Dam and all the water spilling out and I say Las Vegas is dead or stuff like that. I'm just not going to do it. But because I refuse to do that, I now can't compete with all the AI that does do that. And not only that, the frequency they put out is like shorts, where they'll have 3 videos a week, 5 videos a week. As a human, we just can't do that. We have jobs, we have other stuff like all the hobbies I told you about. There's only so much time in each day. I'm sure all of you experience this. When you work at one thing, or you go to your civilian job and you get home, maybe you have pets, maybe you like to cook, maybe you like to read. You only have so much time in your life at the end of the day to shove in whatever you want. And I think our society has kind of been designed that way now, and I really don't like it. I really wish we were back in the days like when you could just have one person go to work and provide a nice living and pay all the bills, and the other person could concentrate on the home and make sure that everything's in order and make sure that the other person's not stressed out all the time. But now, like, it's like in a situation like us, we're just both grinding away all the time, 24/7. Like even Mrs. Mojo will come home after work and she's busy doing stuff on the computer all night till 11 o'clock, and then she's got to wake up and go to work in the morning. And that's like where I'm at with the YouTube. It's like I'm either always thinking of what I'm going to go film next, or I'm sitting behind the computer editing, and it's really started to burn me out. And after a while, you kind of just got to prioritize, like, look, is this really worth it? It's worth it for our Adventure Club members and our viewers, because we have a very tight connection with you folks. But for YouTube, I could care less about that platform. All right. And that's one of the reasons I went to TikTok, even though I swore I would never go to TikTok. And a problem we're already having there, as I've told Dawn, is we actually had an Adventure Club member. We had someone that joined our membership. All right. And we have a very tight circle with our members. So it's very easy to tell, like when someone new comes in and all of a sudden your videos are being copied. This person joined our membership, and 1 or 2 days later, I'm seeing the members' videos nicked and copied and put on TikTok. They just have no shame at all. So I go out there, I put in the groundwork, I do all the work, I do all the editing, and someone else will swoop in, cut up my videos and put them on TikTok, and this person's getting 50,000 views. They have 10,000 followers, so they're monetized. And like, we're just starting out on TikTok, so we're not monetized on TikTok. Basically, everything we're doing on TikTok is for free. TikTok's getting all our ad revenue from anything they watch. Meanwhile, this person's stealing my videos, and they're getting monetized off it. And that was one of the reasons I didn't want to do TikTok before they had American ownership, because there was absolutely no recourse to any of this stuff. All right, I mean, the copyright laws, all that means nothing when a company is headquartered in China. They might as well put laugh emojis when I tell them to stop copying my stuff. Now, thankfully, Dawn asked me in one of the comments on one of the videos, she said, well, you can immediately report it, right? And they'll take it down. No. Nope. Even though they've changed to American ownership now, we do have recourse now, but it involves me, like I've been doing all week, it involves me typing out a DMC, a takedown letter with all the links to everything they've copied, going to the post office, paying $5, $6, $7 for a certified letter, mailing the certified letter into their copyright agent, and then waiting for a response. And now it's been at least 3 months since I started reporting the videos? It's been 3 or 4 months since I've started reporting this person who's copying our stuff, and nothing's happened. So very frustrating, and it's just like another rock in the bucket that's weighing you down as a creator here. All right, so sometimes it seems like on YouTube now, it's really not the same platform that it was 3 or 4 years ago. It's really tough, and it seems like the more you work, the harder you work, the more they ask of you, and the less you get in return. So like I've been hoping for years, I've really been hoping there's going to be a competitor to come up to YouTube, but there's nothing really on the horizon. So it's kind of rough. So, I'm sorry.
TikTok hasn't really changed since ownership. It's actually kind of sad because there's actually other people here in the U.S. that have now branched into TikTok because it's kind of being forced. And there's people from other countries that are sniping, like he's explaining to you, their content and then making it their own and then trying to make it seem like they are the person. So even if you tried to like verify yourself, like kind of like how Instagram, like Dawn said, she's like, I like Instagram sometimes, but like you can verify yourself and get like a little blue check mark by your name because you went through the verification process. You can do the same thing on TikTok, but you have to have a certain followers to get to that point to apply for it, and it's just a whole system. But some of these people buy these accounts and they build these accounts like farms and essentially get to the point where they are eligible to have that verification, and they'll try to snipe it from you. And that's what's happening. Like Heavy D had that happen to him recently.
The main difference is there is a big difference because when it was based in China, you couldn't file any DMCA, like the DMCA Digital Millennium Copyright Act. That's an actual legal process where you file a letter that has to have certain sections and everything, and it's actually a legal document where then it forces TikTok to send a notice to that person to prove that they are the owners. Okay, the difference is when it was Chinese owned, that had no weight at all.
It was like now, crazy.
Yeah, but now that it is partly American ownership, they actually have to have by the DMCA law, they have to have a copyright agent where you can mail a letter. That's what I had to do. So now I just wait. And then like our liaison suggested, they said, don't just do one letter. Send the first letter, wait 3 days, send another letter. If that doesn't do it, wait 3 days. But you got to realize all of this that I'm doing, I have to compile a list of every single link to every TikTok that they've copied. So like I just pointed out with the energy, what you like to do at home, whether it's go home and listen to music or relax on the couch or watch YouTube, you only have a finite amount of energy and time in life. Every second that I'm here trying to send DMCA letters to this person who's nicking the channel is another second that I'm not making my own content. You see how this becomes self-defeating? So now he's going, because he's run out of material, he's going back in our archives, all right? I've noticed he's starting to put up videos from 2022, 2023, and he's getting called out in the comments, thankfully. People are saying, how old is this? Why are you sharing a water level report from 2023? Well, it's because he's run out of content to copy. So
and
now
he's from a different country.
Yeah, well, they're always foreign because if they were based here, they would be struck down a lot sooner. So that's part of the problem. So now it's kind of like a waiting process. But like I said, every second that I'm taking reporting this stuff is another second that I'm not making videos on our channel. And so it's kind of like the only way to stop this is for me to do what I'm doing now, is slow down my content production to bleed them dry. Because what happens with these people, they're very instant gratification. They want 10,000 views everything they post because they're monetized and they're trying to cash roll your media. So what happens is if I stop making media for a while, I'll bleed this person dry and they'll have to end up going to nick someone else's stuff. I've noticed Jesse's Drone Adventures is being nicked, and Sin City Outdoors.
Is too.
Yeah, all of them. All the people that do the lake stuff, they're getting nicked. It's just like if you were like we were before, where you're doing excellent on YouTube, you might not even notice this because you don't care, because you're having such a come up on YouTube that you don't even bother looking at TikTok, which is how we were. Yeah. I didn't bother with TikTok at all. It was only when our YouTube started dropping off that I said, well, screw this. If I have to make shorts for YouTube because they keep pushing me, I'm just going to copy them to TikTok. Why not? I've already done the work. So this is
and you get more exposure on TikTok versus
YouTube, but it's hard to
like,
tell if it's organic, though.
True.
You never know if it's bots. So that's the problem. So as some of you might remember what happened with Twitter/X, when that whole pass-off happened between Jack, whatever his name was, I forget his last name, but the previous owner, Jack or whatever, when that pass-off happened to Elon Musk, there was an audit done where they found that a large part of the Twitter ecosystem was actually bots. They were fake. It was fake engagement. So now think about this. Twitter is really one of the only platforms that's actually been audited like that. So these platforms like YouTube, where you see all this AI popping up, platforms like TikTok, platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Meta, they have never been audited for this stuff. Never.
Yeah.
So what's really going behind the scenes, and that's what ties into what I talked about earlier with YouTube is going to get in trouble with its advertisers. Can you imagine if an advertiser forced some kind of audit or discovery of what was really going on behind the scenes in TikTok with their, I mean, at YouTube with their algorithms, and how much of these ads they're showing to real people like you that are watching right now versus they're just showing it to a bot factory where it's a rack full of cell phones
I'm sure
all
you've
watching
seen
the
it
same
in China
videos.
and stuff. They
Yeah,
have
it's
'em.
crazy.
It's
So
wild.
this is what we're up against, folks. So kind of a odd topic for Midnight in the Mojave, but I feel like it has to be said because I am going to reference it eventually on the main channel. Like I said,
It's
I don't.
infuriating.
Yeah, I really don't want to do one of those videos where it says why I'm quitting YouTube, but they seem to do really well, which sucks. So
So if you see that, please click. But we're not quitting. We're not quitters. We're really. It's defeating, and it really gets in your head, especially when you have a passion. And we're really big history people, especially about Nevada history and U.S. history. Clearly, Mojo's obviously really big into, making it kind of like a National Geographic or Travel Channel or whatever you want to call it. Anything to kind of give you history on the Southwest and how it has adapted over the years. And he does deep dives. Clearly, he really wants to know the truth and seeing both sides of every story, because clearly our history has been erased and we need to know what our real history is all about. So that's why we like making those long formats where, like, even for like Powell, like he made one that was very, very in depth, and it talked about like the people that discovered different tribes and stuff like that. And that was such a great episode. You would see that on something that would be like, National Geographic, or not National Geographic. What is it called?
History Channel,
History Channel.
Discovery,
Thank you.
yeah.
Discovery. Any of those kind of platforms that we all loved as kids and adults now. And I feel like we've lost that. So Mojo really has a passion about sharing the word and finding out all those details. And it's just sad a lot of people don't see that. And so it's not him. It's the algorithms, and it's how these people are designing these platforms to make you have smaller attention spans.
to be fair, though, it is a little bit of me, because if you see on YouTube, a lot of people, like I said, will pick one thing and hammer it and hammer it and hammer it. Like these lake update channels that are doing really well with the AI right now, it's because they cover nothing but Lake Mead. Every thumbnail is Lake Mead drying up, Lake Mead's dead, Las Vegas is dead, Hoover Dam is broken, Hoover Dam is shutting down. They just hammer the same thing over and over. I get really bored with that, all right? I don't like, I'll go down to the lake to cover the lake, and we'll find a boat wreck or something else, and then I'll get off on a tangent trying to find the story of the gentleman who owned the boat and how it
We
sank.
want to know how this happened.
So,
like, how did they end up in this situation?
Yeah, so to be fair to YouTube, we are kind of all over the place, and it does not like that at all, all right? But I think, like I said, I will never really quit. I'll keep uploading stuff, especially if we have a member section, but it's just going to be a lot more varied, because I'm at the point where I'm getting kind of like an old person, where when you get to a certain point, you just say screw it to everything. You're like, I don't care. I'll go outside in my boxers and a beater. You don't care anymore.
No.
That's kind of where I'm getting to YouTube, where I'm like, I'm just going to upload anything, because before I was walking on eggshells with YouTube. It was like every Lake Mead production had to be polished, the title had to be right, the hashtags had to be perfect, the thumbnail had to be perfect so it gets picked up. But now that it's it hasn't worked for so long, I'm at the point where I say, well, it doesn't work anyways, I might as well do what I want. So there's the silver lining in it. You may actually get a lot more varied stuff. It's just the video editing. It takes so long. I'm not good at the video editing. Some people, they'll say, oh yeah, I just throw it in CapCut and use the AI editor. I've tried that and I don't like it at all. It's very impersonal. I like to line everything up like a story, so the editing takes me forever, but
and
maybe
you're
one day.
passionate about before and afters, and a lot of people take
forever,
notice
yeah.
of that, because that's hard to line up old photos from in the past to present day. But I think more and more people hopefully one day will see this with maybe these different platforms getting their butt in line, because it's absolutely devastating. But yeah, your narration, like Don says, I can see it on the screen. It's delayed on the TV, but like your narration, you type that stuff out. It's not like you're using AI for every single thing like most people are.
I'm really hoping for a YouTube audit in the future.
Yes.
I'm hoping one of these advertisers who spend big money on YouTube, I'm hoping they audit YouTube and find out what's really going on, because that's going to be eye-opening. So
yeah,
Thank you so much for sitting through all that rambling. I know I said I was going to save some of it for the Lake channel, but I'm really going to kind of distill it down when I do the live stream. I'm just going to say, look, like this is kind of draining my passion. I'm still going to cover the lake when it gets low, but I'm not just going to hammer the lake week after week, hoping that YouTube is going to notice me like a little pick me. Oh, please, teacher, pick me. Like, I'm not going to do that anymore. It's just not where I'm at. And like the folks that we have in our adventure club and, you know, the real people that watch, like right now, if they enjoy it, they're going to come back. And if it was bots that was subscribed, they're not going to come back. And there's really no sweat off me. So thank you. Let me go through the comments real quick before we sign off tonight. We are getting a little long-winded, so that's good. We have another good episode, information filled in the books. Dawn said, I don't create content. People try and talk me into it, but I'm not tech savvy. Dawn, actually, if you haven't done it, right now is a good time to start because, like I said, with everything going on, YouTube seems to be boosting, and the other platforms, they seem to be boosting new creators. And there's a reason for that, too. It's not because they say, oh, it's because we want to help new creators and help them succeed. It's because you don't get monetized on these platforms for a certain amount. On TikTok, you have to have 10,000 followers. We only have 1,000 some. On YouTube, you have to have 1,000 followers to be monetized. So if you start off on YouTube, like let's see, Dawn, you started uploading tomorrow, maybe you have 10 subscribers right now. If you have a hit video, like we did with the lake update, my very first lake update, we weren't monetized. All right. So we got 100-some thousand views. Guess where all of that money went? Directly into TikTok's or YouTube's pocket. Because I wasn't monetized. All right. So you see how they work? They're very sneaky. They'll tell you, hey, we want to support you, Dawn. We're gonna lift you up as a new creator. So
Dangle the carrot.
Yeah, you'll get all these like some new like you'll see my new video. It can't even get a couple hundred views when we were getting hundreds of thousands before. But a new creator will come up. I saw a Las Vegas realtor lady. The realtors really like to push the Lake Mead situation isn't serious. It's okay. Come buy a house from me. She put up a talking head video saying this and that, and she has thousands of views, but she doesn't have 1,000 followers. So all that money that she's getting right into YouTube's pocket. So that's how they get you. Same thing with TikTok. They'll say, yeah, we want to help you out and you have all these views. But then when you get established like we do and you start relying on it, you think, hey, you know, this might actually work out. Maybe if I hit this a little bit harder, we could actually make this into something. Right when you get in that mindset, they flip the switch on you, and that's when the hamster wheel begins. And you say, well, what happened when we started? We were getting all this exposure and everyone was watching. It's because they were taking all your ad money. Very sneaky.
Yep. It's a little bit
Dawn
of
says
brainwashing.
if it's not your passion anymore, then it's just something you don't look forward to. That's the editing, Dawn. Like, I can't stand the editing.
Yeah.
I swear the videos now are like 1/10 of the time is me being out there in the sunshine enjoying what I usually do, and 9/10 of the time is me sitting in the dark freaking office behind a computer with my legs feel like they're getting blood clots from editing all day. So that part really sucks. If I could find, you know, an editor to throw all this stuff together, but like I said, it's a never-ending hamster wheel because in order to get an editor, you have to make more content so you can get more money coming in. So it's just like, I don't have time to make the more content, so I can't get an editor. But if I put more time into it, all the money will go to the editor. And then it's just like, will it work out or will I just be wasting more money? And Dawn says, was it Steve? No, it was the newest name. So the reason I didn't respond to you, Dawn, in the comments was because I don't want this person to know what I'm actually doing. And who knows, they might watch this. I don't think they found the other channel, but I didn't want them to know that I have been repeatedly filing reports on their thing and DMCA reports. I'm hoping just one day they're going to wake up and get a rude awakening. So, you know, just like the military strategizing, you don't want to give away your tactics. So I didn't respond to you in there, but no, it is that newest person. I won't say their name. It's very obvious to figure out. You know how tight our circle is, but when the new person comes in and 2 days later, the members video is on TikTok, it's like, are you out of your freaking mind?
You
Like,
that
you-
dumb?
no shame.
This guy clearly is
No
an
shame.
idiot,
And
but
it's
just-
because they don't care.
Yeah.
And does TikTok ban them? No, they don't do anything at all. Like I said,
No.
you have to go through this very long formal DMCA process where you write up the letter and it has all the correct fields and you certify that it's to the best, yada, yada, yada. It's all a legalese thing. And then you have to mail it into them in snail mail, certified mail. And then you have to sit here and wait and be like, please review my letter and get back to me. So it's very frustrating. And she says, people are too smart in the comments section then. Okay, I know who's doing it. Yeah, she knows because our circle is so tight. It's so obvious, especially when like Dawn's been a member for a year and Sammy Head isn't that far behind. I think he's 7 or 8 months. And then all of a sudden a new member comes in and 2 days later it's copied. It's like, you don't think I'm going to figure out who's doing this? Yeah. So
at least he's paying for something.
yeah.
I don't need to know. It's crazy.
Texas Hockey says, crank up the production. The more people see, the more people know. Yeah, I think what I need to do is crank up the production, but down the quality, because there's always a trade-off. It's like, I want to do more productions, but I want to keep it at the quality that I always do. But that's a problem because I don't have the time anymore. And unfortunately, with civilian work and everything, we're kind of going into a change of season, like I've told Dawn before. And it's just going to get harder and harder to make those nice edited videos for. So we'll see what happens. So I'll stay at it in some way or another. The more people complain, and he says use watermarks. So that's another funny thing, Texas Hockey. Like I said, on this person and on TikTok, because it's so loosey goosey, they have no shame. They copy my videos with the watermark, and then not only that, on their profile page they have our little Mojo Adventures logo as their logo.
Yeah, it's pretty
so
wild.
They nick the whole thing, the logo and the bio and the watermarks and everything. They really just don't care. And I think part of it is because, like we were discussing, TikTok was foreign owned for so long that, it's like if someone in China ripped off your product, like you had a little USB fan or something janky.
Or like Louis Vuitton, and then they make fake ones.
Yeah, and they make fake ones. And then it's like, well, what are you going to do? You're going to fly over here and service papers? Like you really have no
This guy
feedback.
clearly is in a really bad area, but I don't know. It's wild.
Yeah, so they have no shame, and they clearly know that TikTok has dragged its feet with recourse, so they don't care. So I think the point that person is in right now is they're just trying to frantically copy as much and get as much monetization off our videos as they can before the gig is up. I think that's what's happening. And then unfortunately, it's not like they're going to be shut down for good. What they're going to do is that page will get closed, and then they'll move on to like the next trending creator. Like they'll go to Sin City Outdoors and copy them until they file something. And then once they file something, they'll go over to Remote Trooper and copy his.
It's like a farm.
whack-a-mole. Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally a farm.
Content farm. And that's one of the problems with these social media platforms. They don't really show an interest in shutting these people down. Like when you bring it up to them, it's like they'll drag their feet. And why is that? It's like I just mentioned, they're collecting that ad revenue either way. They don't care if it's really us, the real Mojo Adventures, making the videos, or if it's someone overseas copying it. They're collecting that ad revenue and showing the ads on the stuff either way. So they're getting paid either way. They don't care. So it's actually beneficial for TikTok and YouTube when the stuff happens to drag their feet and not shut it down, because just like this person, they're going to collect as much as they can before the gig is up. So
yeah, it's pretty sad.
Dawn knows the name. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. All right. Well, no, Dawn says they weren't ever in the chat. That's another thing, Dawn, on these fake pages, they never respond to anyone. Like it honestly, and also they banned me from their page because I.
It's so
This
funny.
is funny because people would go in the comments of the nicked page and they'd have like genuine, you know how people are in our comments, they'll come in and be like, I was at that spot in the 80s. That's where I used to swim. And then like I'll like try and make a connection with them. Like, oh my gosh, like that's pretty
Thanks
cool.
for the
like,
feedback. Like we'll have to check whatever
yeah.
out.
And
like,
so the fake pages, they will never respond. So I'll go in there and I would feel bad and I'll be like, this person's not going to respond because it's a fake page. And then, of course, they blocked me from the fake page. So now I can't even respond to the people.
But we can see it on mine.
Well, yeah, but as soon as you respond, they'll block you
know,
too. That's the
true.
problem. Especially if they see Mrs. Mojo on there,
I
they'll be like,
know,
"Oh, here he's sending his
wifey
attack
after
dog."
me.
Yeah. So
Oh, I'll get him.
so that's another depressing part. That's honestly kind of worse to me than the them stealing the videos and getting the monetization. Is that people are out there, people like you, Dawn, who maybe felt a connection to the content or enjoyed the content, and they want to type a comment and they want to see what we say, and they just get ghosted. So then they might just start to think like,
oh, they're
hey,
not personable. They think
like,
they're too cool
screw
for
that
us.
Mojo
like,
guy. I left him this long comment about how that's where I
it's
used to
not
swim, and he
us.
couldn't even give me a like or so.
Like it's sad. It's really defeating because we like to interact with everyone.
Yeah, we do. So that's like why I say the Adventure Club folks have been keeping us going. And as you know, since the very beginning of the very first Lake Mead video, we've had a tight group of followers and people that will show up, reoccurring commenters, they'll keep showing up. Like some people, it's just like life. Some people will disappear from our videos for 6 months, and then I'll post a video and all of a sudden they get suggested it and they're back in there like, oh my gosh, this was great. Yeah,
we missed you.
Yeah, and all this stuff. So it's kind of like a reunion, you know? So they're not going to get that with the fake people. I just hope that eventually people are smart enough to realize this. They're like, why aren't they responding anymore? Like,
I think
something's
as the
going
years
on.
go, people are going to start realizing this is what's happening to social media content now.
Yeah. So,
Anyhow.
what do you think? Good midnight in the Mojave this evening?
I think so.
It's
We
getting-
yapped a lot.
It's getting late. Mrs. Mojo was watching Coachella live. That's going on. She
Yeah.
wanted to see her boy Justin Bieber perform.
Oh, yeah, my
So-
Bieber boy. But I'm missing the concert, but I can rewatch it. He started
Yeah.
at 11:25.
She'll catch the replay.
Yeah, I'll catch
so,
the replay, but you know,
So that's all good.
I'm a believer.
Texas hockey card. I'll just read you off real quick as we close it up. I might have one last thing at the very end, like we did for Dawn last time. I did a little something special at the end. I did get hit with a copyright, but I don't care because I'm not monetized on this channel. It doesn't matter. We only have 300 some followers. So guess what, YouTube? I'm sticking it back to you because if I ain't gonna get the money from all this effort, you ain't gonna get it either. So maybe I'll play a song so that this video gets hit with a copyright, and then you can't collect it either. It'll go to the artist. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah. Texas Hockey says, "What is the editing software you use?" I've always used Shotcut. If you've ever heard of that, it's a free editor, completely free. I know it's very simple. It's just like it's almost as close to a basic text editor as you can get. Everything is very basic. Cut clips, drop clips, blend clips, audio, this and that. I try and focus not so much on that, like the flashy retention editing and this and that. And I'm sure you see how some editors are. I don't do that. I try and focus on the storytelling a little bit more. So I try and lean into kind of the audio part and all that stuff like that. But Shotcut is very tedious. There are better ones. The main reason I used it is because it's absolutely free and it's open source, which is good. And they update it constantly. So even if you have no money to get started, you can download Shotcut for free. And you can do, as you see from our videos, you can actually do some very powerful editing after you learn it.
And stuff that you do.
The problem is though, because it's so basic, all of that stuff is very very elementary. So you literally have to drop everything as little bits into the timeline. Whereas the newer ones, say like DaVinci Resolve is a good one. If you're looking for an editor, they have a free version. But the learning curve is pretty high. However, once you learn it, you don't have to do all this individual stuff. It's more automated. And same with if you really want to move up, like let's say you're Sin City Outdoors, I think they use Adobe Premiere, which is like that's a lot of money for that program. But at that point, you get like an AI based editor where you can drop just your raw clips in there and you can say, take these clips, turn it into a story type timeline with flashy cuts, and it'll do all the editing and you're done. So unfortunately, we don't have the resources for that, so I just stick to Shotcut. It's what works. It takes a little bit longer, yeah, but at the same part, like the thing I was talking about with energy and trade-off, every moment that, like, let's say I went to a new editor, every moment that I would take trying to learn this new editor and get the learning curve down would be more time that I'm not making videos. And I feel like we're so far in the hole with content, like, oh my gosh, Mrs. Mojo knows how many trips we have in the bank right now.
Oh my
all
gosh,
over
you should
Nevada,
see. We have too many
Arizona,
hard drives.
California, like our whole Virginia City trip. We have so much stuff from Virginia City.
Our 2 weeks last summer.
And none of it has gone up just because every time something happens, it's like the lake update needs to happen. And then I get behind. So it's just like, I don't know if I'll ever really quit because we have so much content. I've told her before, this is legit serious. If we stopped going on trips right now and never went on another trip for years and years, we could be producing content for at least 3 to 5 years at this point because we're so far behind.
Archived.
Yeah,
There's
so,
stuff with Harley before he passed.
yeah. So our
it's
other,
insane.
yeah, I know Dawn knows, but
yeah.
Harley was our other
Our pup.
adventure pup, and he had a very good life after we rescued him. He went all over the place, but
that
like
boy saw everywhere.
yeah, the issue is now he's in a lot of videos. So now when we edit that video,
Makes me cry.
well, not only that, but we might confuse people because they're saying, "Why is Harley back again?" And then so it's like stuff ages out too, you know what I mean? And
We'll
especially the
eventually get
lake
to
stuff,
it.
like the stuff we've recorded at the lake previously that I'd like to share. Some of it is aged out because the water level is completely different. So kind of a weird situation going on with all that. But go ahead and post the editor in the comments once this video is done or whenever you get it. I'm definitely open to suggestions. And he says, does it allow you to save templates? Yeah. So usually I have a couple different templates. Like, for instance, I have a lake update template, and then I'll have like an adventure episode template. And then on this channel, you might see we have like B-roll things where it'll just start and it only has a title. Like it'll say, you know, Good Springs, or it'll say Argenta Mine or whatever. It'll just be very basic. So yeah, I do save the templates to save time. It's just the where the real time drain is going through all the clips that we've recorded and picking out the bits that are good, you know, to narrate over. That's where all the time is. So that's where people are really saving a lot of time, is where they put it in the AI editor and they say, cut out all the exciting, you know, cut this into exciting clips for retention. Yeah. Maybe sometime.
Maybe.
We'll try. Yeah. Yep. So, Harley,
my
yeah.
baby boy.
Yep.
He was a good rescue pup. That man would hike 10 miles round trip and would not even put up a front. Bella would always be like, pick me up, put me on your backpack.
And Harley had a bum leg too.
And he had a bad knee. And that boy, I put a brace on him. He did not care. That boy was an adventure pup.
He would get
did
FOMO
not
if we
care.
would start leaving. We'd be like, Harley, your leg is sore today. He would get FOMO, and he's like, I don't care.
I would have carried him. I don't care.
Okay.
But he was a tough puppy. I loved that boy.
Adventures with Todd the father and Harley the adventure dog. Another channel I discovered.
Oh,
I'll have to look that one up too.
look
Yep.
him up. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Harley
Good stuff.
Marley. No crying, guys. No crying.
No.
He's in a better place.
Yeah, we have a lot of good footage of Harley. So, what do you think? Should I give them a little treat here? They've really hung around for a long time.
Yeah, it can be Joe Cella.
Joe Cella before we sign off. All right. Maybe
Before
that's
I go
what we'll
into
do.
my Bieber
Yeah.
Cella.
I really appreciate y'all hanging out tonight. Give me like a minute, 30 seconds, 2 minutes.
Stage switch. Hold on.
Let me move. Yeah, we gotta get the stage moved around here. Let me get this microphone out of the way and.
Oh yeah, when he was zooming up the hill, Dawn is like, I
Yeah,
remember
we'll be
him
right
zooming
back.
up the hill. Harley loved the snow.
Where's the chat cam?
There it goes.
There we go. Hold on 1 second here. Give me a minute, okay? We'll take you out on a happy note. It'll actually be very, very pertinent to what all I discussed with YouTube dragging you down, okay? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good job.
All right.
Bravo, bravo.
Well, that should definitely wrap it up for our copyright strikes tonight. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around till the end of Mojo Cella Night 1. Maybe Night 2 will be next time. Who knows? Yeah, I also got some DJ gear back behind Mrs. Mojo if you want to hear. We do it all.
Days.
Yep, we do it all. Hey, it's good for desert driving.
Yes.
We like the electronic music for nighttime desert driving. Good to get you through those long, dark road trips at night. Thank you, everyone. Texas Hockey Cards, Staff Sergeant Dawn. Really appreciate you, not only on this channel, but on the main channel also. And glad that you're here to support us no matter what we do, even if it's a little bit crazy or we're doing silly stuff like this. All right. Thank you, Mrs. Mojo. Oh, you don't have your mic anymore.
No, it's okay. You can still kind of hear me in the background.
There you go.
Howdy, howdy, nighty, nighty.
Thank you, everyone. Mrs. Mojo, do you have anything to add tonight?
No, not at all.
No, I don't.
Name that show. SNL.
Very good. You just ruined
I
it.
did.
Named it.
Help you out a little bit.
All right. Thank you, everyone. It was great to see you all tonight. And we will see you again very shortly on Mojo Adventures, or maybe Mojo Adventures more, wherever the
See you
wind
at the
blows.
lake tomorrow.
Yep. And if you're up tomorrow evening, we'll try and go
For
down to the lake.
sunset.
It's kind of windy, so we'll see what we can make happen down there. But if you want to see some nice outdoor views, we'll see you tomorrow at Lake Mead, all right? Have a great night, great rest of your weekend. See you next time.
Bye-bye, Bella. Night-night.
See you later. Till next time, Midnight in the Mojave, number 7 in the books.
She's like, now it's bedtime.
It's over. Go home.